Good evening, good morning, good noon, good night, depending on the geographical location in which you are located. This lecture is known as Dr. T.S. Vasan Memorial Lecture. The topic for discussion today is Building Blocks of Astrology. Date Sunday, 6th February 2022. Time is 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time. This is a free virtual session through Zoom. All are welcome irrespective of their geographical location. Thanks to Corona for having made this possible. Please keep your horoscope ready along with a clean sheet of paper and a pencil or a ball pen or a gel pen. Calculator is not required if good at mental arithmetic, otherwise a simple calculator may be used. Calculator is not required if you can add mentally given 7 single digit numbers, multiply a 2-digit number by another 2-digit number, divide a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number, and subtract a 2-digit number from a 3-digit number, considering or ignoring fractional parts because of the simple reason that accurate analysis of inaccurate data is not at all necessary. No prior knowledge of astronomy or astrology is required. Use astrology as a simple tool, either purely for entertainment purposes or to improve productivity in your own life. The choice is entirely yours. The participants and intended and invisible viewers of this virtual session or the video recording of this virtual session are required to make use of the contents of this presentation at their own risk, fully knowing their own personal limitations, if any. The creators or distributors or anybody else, whoever is either directly or indirectly related to the contents of this presentation are not at all responsible for losses, including but not limited to financial losses, if any, which are caused or likely to be caused for having used the information contained in this presentation. Efforts have been made, spending several sleepless nights to see that the information contained in this presentation is correct, clear, complete, and sufficient enough to steer Jnana towards Vijnana and to destroy Ajnana present, if any, in the society. However, as every keystroke is itself an important source of error, the end users are required to use the information contained in this presentation at their own risk. Anybody or everybody, whoever is interested to learn the basic principles of astrology, who can understand broken English, broken Kannada, broken Hindi, is eligible to learn astrology by joining this free virtual session. Those who have at least a degree in any discipline are preferred, although others are also welcome. Medium of instruction is broken English, broken Kannada, or broken Hindi. Generally, it will be broken English, but depending on the audience and their language, it is always possible to explain the parts along with English with broken Kannada or broken Hindi. The building blocks of astrology or any other subject is the same for everybody, because after all, astrology is also a subject. For any understanding any subject, it is necessary to understand the building blocks. This is an activity-based session. It is because of this simple reason that you have to do some activities which will be indicated during the session. Please keep few clean sheets of paper, preferably unruled, of size A4 or unruled notebook, along with a pencil or a pen or a ball pen or a gel pen or a sketch pen for writing. An eraser is not at all required if you are perfect in your own work. A basic calculator may be used if you are not very good in performing arithmetic operations in the mind, which is the God-given calculator. By studying any subjects, it is necessary to study continuously. Something we can understand, something it may take time for getting it understood, but effort must be always there. It is because of the simple reason that anything that is conceived and believed in the human mind is easily achieved. By studying the subject, there will be large number of questions. There will be small questions, there will be big questions, there will be questions within questions, and so on, to mention a few. Here, there are two visitors who are attending a conference. The presenter has written on the blackboard or the whiteboard the big equation of simplification, which has given the answer as 42 as the end result of evaluation of such a big complicated expression. So they are trying to say that this may be the solution for all problems, but what exactly is the problem or the question, they are not able to understand, because that part is not on the board there. I know you are as excited as I am about today's lesson. So please be awake both physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally also. Ask the right questions and nature will open the doors to our secrets. This is said by Professor Dr. C.V. Raman, who was one of the Nobel Prize winners in India. So, if you have questions, whom you have to ask? You have to ask yourself again and again and again, and try to explore the possibility of finding the answer. So one day the answer will come to you for your own questions, because you have asked the question yourself. You have to get satisfied by your own answers. If somebody else gives some answers that you may not agree or acceptable to you. Generally, for study of any subject, we use what is called as 9S principle. What are these 9S? The 9S are broadly divided into three main groups of 3S each. 3S, 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 totally becoming 9S. The first 3S stands for study, study, study. The second 3S stands for simplify, simplify, simplify. The third 3S stands for standardize, standardize, standardize. And it won't stop at this one. It will be again applied once again from the beginning, because it is a continuous process of improving our understanding and simplification and standardizing procedures for learning any subject, not limited to astrology. Normally, studying any subject, initially there will be lot of doubts or questions in the mind before the commencement of the study. Once we start learning, initially some amount of doubts which are present are somehow get cleared, and we will be ready to proceed further. As a lesson progresses, there will be again increase in the number of doubts or questions in the mind, because new ideas, new language, new technical jargon, new terminology are associated. There are a lot of things to unlearn, and equal number of terms to learn which are new. So therefore, it is natural the doubts or questions to start increasing as the topic of discussion continues and progresses. As the learning continues, the number of doubts and questions will keep on rising again and again and again. So, it is necessary to write down all the questions in the paper or in a notebook, so that we will not forget at the end, and while checking whether all are cleared or not. So, as the lesson progresses further, the rate of increase of the doubts or number of questions increasing will keep on reducing, and it will reach a peak when the topics covered are completed as per the typical timetable. But it is necessary to get the doubts or questions of anything that is not understood to be asked and clarified by the learners from the teacher. So, we can keep on eliminating the doubts by seeking what will be the actual meaning to understand, etc., clearing one doubt at a time, so that it is all doubts are cleared in due course with persistence, and we can reach the perfection. So, as the clarifications are obtained for the questions or the doubts in the mind, they will keep on getting cleared, and finally we'll be able to clear all the doubts, but if at all there are any in the mind of the learner. So it takes some amount of time to get all the doubts clarified. So there is no method or instant solution, such as take this particular tablet which has blue and red encapsulation visible on the outside, say like one in the morning, one in the night, you will be able to get the things clarified within 2 days. There is no such thing. Therefore, it is necessary to apply the 9S principle here to study, 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 simplify, 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 and standardize, standardize, standardize repeatedly, so that finally all the doubts get cleared about any subject, including but not limited to astrology. So, if you keep on getting doubts whether they were present before attending the class or while learning through these things, please write down all your doubts or the questions that you want to ask in a notebook, so that you will not forget at the end. Then get the clarifications for each of these doubts or questions which you have listed in your book from people who know the subject or people who are experts in this area, including the presenter of this session. So, once the doubts are cleared, you are ready for further higher studies in the subject. Now, let us draw a circle, and it is shown in something like a colored disc. This is a circular disc, you can imagine, or it is just written on a plain paper, which thickness of the paper we can neglect. Now we have drawn another circle of a smaller radius but with the same center, and the central portion, circular portion, is removed, so that we get a flat, thin, ring-like picture. This ring has no starting point or no ending point. That means we can mark any point on this thin ring and call it a starting point and go towards the other end along the circumference to come back to the same point from which we have started. So therefore, it is necessary to mark some initial point on this thin annular circle. So for example, here we are marking a point here, which is this vertical line at the top here, where the 360 or 0 degree is marked. That means if we start from 0, continue in the clockwise direction, when we come back, we will be covering 360 degrees, which coincides with the 0 degrees. Now you can imagine that at the center of this annular region we have the Earth, and this annular region is a simplified representation of a two-dimensional figure which provides the path for movement of heavenly bodies with respect to the earth. In this case, the path of motion is shown on this annular disk or circle type as if it is in clockwise direction as shown by the arrow mark. The clockwise motion of the heavenly bodies through this path of motion between the inner circle and the outer circle is known as direct motion if it is a clockwise motion. The wheel at the background is rotating in the clockwise direction. So, if the planets are moving along this path of motion, then we say that they are executing direct motion or clockwise motion. If the direction of motion along the path of the motion of the planets is anticlockwise, then it is called as retrograde motion in astrological terms. It is just opposite to the direction of the wheel which is rotating clockwise in the background. Now, let us draw another circle like this. Now, draw the diameter like this, a horizontal diameter, which will divide the circle into two equal parts. Draw a vertical line, also a vertical diameter. The horizontal diameter, the vertical diameter intersect at the center of the circle and divide the circle into four equal parts, and each part is called as a quadrant, since total angle of degrees from a starting point to come back to the same point after going around the periphery of the circle one round is 360 degrees. Each quadrant is 90 degrees wide. That is by angular space. Now, divide the quadrants into equally three parts. Say, since the quadrant is 90 degree, when it is divided into three parts, each part will represent an angle of 30 degrees. Same thing, we can divide the other quadrants also, dividing them into 30 degrees each, so that totally the 360 degree angle is divided into 12 equal parts, and each one has an angular spacing from one radial line to another radial line of 30 degrees. Now, these sectors region, what we are seeing is circle is divided into 12 sectors of that much radius and that much length there. Now, this region is called as a sign or Rashi in astrology. They are named as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. In Kannada, the Aries is called Vrushchika, Mesha, Taurus is Vrushabha, Gemini is Mithuna, Cancer is Kataka, Leo is Simha, Virgo is Kanya, Libra is Tula, Scorpio is Vrushchika, Sagittarius is Dhanus, Capricorn is Makara, Aquarius is Kumbha, and Pisces is Meena. So each of these signs occupy an angular space of 30 degrees each. If we remove a circular part inside, then you see we will be able to get these regions like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So each one of this block is called a Rashi or sign. Here, this is a representation of the same thing, but it is shown in colors, that's all. So this is how colored annular region looks. So each one of these 12 portions of this annular ring, they are called as signs or Rashi. Now, here is a clock. There is no markings made here. So normally, there will be 12 marked here at the top, 6 marked at the bottom, 3 to the right side, and 9 to the left side. So there will be further subdivisions also, like 10 and 11, here it is 1 and 2, here it is 4 and 5, and here it is 7 and 8. There will be markings also for the minute and the second needle, where the periphery is divided into 60 equal parts. That means each mark will come at an angular spacing of 6 degrees, because that each of 360 degree, when divided by 12, it will become 30. So if we divide by 30 degrees, we get 12. So 30 degrees, the hour marking will be there, which is further divided to get total 60 markings, so that 12 into 5 will be 60. So this one will read the such marking as minute, whereas second hand read the same reading as second, and hour reading will read the bigger marking of 30 degree interval as hour. So this is the hour handle, this is the minute handle, this is the seconds handle. Now, although no markings are there on this clock, even then we can read the value correct to the second accuracy. That is, roughly the time indicated by this clock can be imagined or estimated to be like 1 hour, 50 minutes, and about 42 seconds, like that. That is, although the marking is not there here physically, but it will be there in our mind. Here is a special clock which probably you might have not come across. The speciality of this is the circumference is divided into not 12 parts but 24 parts. Therefore, angular space occupied by each of these divisions is 15 degrees, not 30. So 2 of them corresponds to 30 degrees. So in this case, the hour hand makes only one complete rotation per day of 24 hours. That means by the time it travels from one marking to another marking, it will cover only 1 hour, and like that, totally in a day, it will cover 24 hours. But the seconds which are marked here, they are marked from 5, 10, 15, like that, up to 60. They are minutes for the minute hand, and they are the seconds for the second hand. So second hand and minute hand will use this scale, and hour hand will use this hour scale. So this clock also has no markings, but we'll be able to say the time is something like 11 o'clock followed by 41 minutes and about 22 seconds. The shape of the clock may be a square or even a rectangle. Always it will not be circular. So accordingly, the markings will be there on a square, the edges, or the rectangular and its edges. So here you can see the markings. So these markings are vertical, these markings are horizontal, these markings are vertical. Now here, actually, we wanted to show that something like the clockwise rotation is what is indicated by this bigger wheel that is rotating in the background. So that kind of a motion is called a clockwise motion or direct motion. Now, if the motion is opposite to that of the direction of rotation of the background wheel, then it is called the anti-clockwise motion or the retrograde motion in astrological terms. Now, typical horoscope can be imagined to be something like follows the format or geometry and dimensions of a clock. So here is shown a square clock, not the circular one, and the path of motion is made as along a square path, not a circular path. The marking of the 1, 2, 3 up to 12 is marked in this particular fashion. So normal clock, this line, vertical line at the top indicates the 12 o'clock, the one at the bottom will indicate 6 o'clock, one here on the right indicates 3 o'clock, and here it is 9 o'clock. But in this one, we have numbered in this particular fashion, starting from 1 here, this is the 1, this is 2, 3, etc. And names we have given. 1 means this area is called Aries or Mesha. This area is called Taurus or Vrishaba. Like that, the names are given to the 12 spaces or that partitions. So instead of writing the numbers, it will be convenient to write the names of the each of the signs. So for convenience, we are writing abbreviation and not the full name. Accordingly, the place of 1 we have Aries, then Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. If the shape is instead of square a rectangle, then this is how the clock dial that we try to imagine, which will represent the horoscope, is looking like this. The numbers are written starting from 1 at this place, which is the location for Mesha, and then 2 for Vrishabha, 3 for Gemini, 4 for Cancer, 5 for Leo, 6 for Virgo, 7 for Libra, 8 for Scorpio, 9 for Dhanus, 10 for Capricorn, 11 for Aquarius, and 12 for Pisces. So, once we go through the nomenclature of naming of each of the zones on the rectangular or square path, which is convenient to write using straight lines rather than writing circular paths, which will not be that much convenient for many. Now, each of these signs is divided into 9 equal parts as shown in the first sign here, Aries or Mesha. Now, these 9 parts, each one is called as a quarter in English, or it is called a pada in Kannada. So, every sign is divided into 9 equal parts. So, 12 into 9 will give 108 equal parts, which are to be distributed for the 12 signs. So, when 108 is divided by 27 stars, each star will get a 4 parts. So, these 4 parts are called as 4 something called pada in Kannada or quarter in English. So, one star is equal to 4 quarters and one sign is equal to 9 quarters. So, 9 quarters means since 4 quarters will make 1 star, we will have 2.25 star for each sign. Now here every 4 parts is marked by this black line here. So there are 4 parts. So this is for Ashwini 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter, Bharani 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter, then Krutike 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. Now each sign has got something like 2.25. That means 9 parts are there. So that means 4 parts goes to Mesha and 4 parts goes to Vrishabha, and only 1 part is available from Krutika to make the sign. The remaining quarters, that is 2, 3 and 4 of Krutika belongs to Vrishabha Rasi or Taurus sign. So here that every 4 quarters are grouped and names are put to the form of labels in different colors. So Ashwini, there are 4 parts, Bharani, there are 4 parts, Krutike, there are 4 parts. Like that, all the 27 stars have 4 parts. So totally giving 108 equal parts. The same thing is shown in the form of a circular disk form using the color representation. So, when you remove the central part and make it like a annual ring of radial thickness equal to the width of the path of motion of the planets around the Earth, which is located at the center of this circular pattern. Now, each star is divided into 4 parts as shown here. That means Ashwini, the first part, has got 4 parts. Same thing like all other stars also have 4 equal parts. So, this is to repeatedly see again and again and again, so that we will be able to by heart the names of each individual signs or rashis in the pattern that is shown in the diagram. That means we can see that the Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika 1 will form the Mesha Rashi or Aries sign, because Ashwini, Bharani contribute 4 quarters each. 4 plus 4 will be 8 and 1 is required from Kritika. Remaining 2, 3, 4 of Kritika will go here, plus Rohini will be full. So 4 plus 3 will be 7. Therefore, it needs 2 more quarters to fill up each sign or Rashi. So 2 quarters are taken from the Mrigashira Nakshatra. So Mrigashira 1 and 2, Kritika 2, 3, 4 and Rohini belongs to Vrishibha Rashi or Taurus sign. The remaining 2 padas or quarters, that is 3rd and 4th quarter of Mrigashira plus 4 parts of the Aridra will make up 4 plus 2, 6. Therefore, it needs 3 more parts of Punarasu to become part of the Gemini or Mithuna Rashi. Now, the balance one which was left out from here, that is Punarvasu, 4th quarter, is part of the Cancer sign, plus 4 quarters of the Push, plus 4 quarters of Aslesha. So, Aslesha, Pushya contribute 4 plus 4, 8 padas, and 1 is contributed by Punarvasu, which is the 4th quarter or the 4th pada. So, from here to here, we have covered 9 stars and 4 quarters. So, next 4 also will have 4 signs and there will be 9 stars. The third one comes from here. So, there are 4 signs and totally there are sufficient, like in each one 9, 9. So, there will be totally 36 quarters in this place. So 36 here up to Cancer and including Cancer, and another 36 up to Scorpio or Vrishchika, and remaining 9 into 4, 36 for this is Sagittarius to Pieces. So they will make 36 plus 36 plus 36 is equal to 108. Now we can easily see the stars that are located in different signs can be classified into 3 main groups. They are Purna Nakshatra and Dvipada Nakshatra and Tripada Nakshatra. Now, the Purna Nakshatras are those whose all the four quarters are in the same Rashi or sign. So, these are shown in green color in this example pattern of the Rashi Chakra or sign chart, which indicates location of the stars in the signs. So, the names which are in green, they are called Purna Nakshatra or full stars, that is all the four stars, four quarters of the stars are in the same sign. So, if you count them, you find that there will be 2 in Mesha Rashi, 1 each in Vrishaba and Mithuna, or 2 in Aries, 1 each in Taurus and Gemini, and there are 2 in Cancer. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 will be 6. Like that, there are 6 here, there are 6 here. So there are 18 stars out of 27 which are called Purna Nakshatra because all the four quarters or padas of this star are within the any one of those houses, not shared with the adjacent houses or adjacent signs. Then nakshatra like Kritika, which is here 2, 3, 4 in one place, and there is Uttara here, which is having 2, 3, 4, and there is one more here, Uttarashada, having 2, 3, 4. So these three stars are called as Tripada Nakshatras because they have 3 quarters or 3 padas in one sign and another pada or another quarter in the adjacent sign. So there are 3 Tripada Nakshatras. If you consider, think like Mrugashira, which is having 2 parts here, and here if you come, it will be like Chitta, again 2 parts there, and here Dhanus, which has got 2 parts in one sign and another 2 in the other sign. So that means these are called Dvipada Nakshatras. So Dvipada Nakshatras are this Mrugashira, Chitta, Dhanasa. These are the Dvipada Nakshatras. Now Tripada Nakshatras, there are 6. See, one is here Kritika and there is Punarvasa. Similarly, there is Uttara and there is Vishaka. Similarly, there is Uttarashada and there is Purva Bhadra. So, total 27 stars are conveniently divided into 3 main parts based on how many number of pada or quarters of the stars are present in any one sign without changing with neighboring sign or sharing with neighboring signs. Accordingly, Purna Nakshatras will have all their padas or all their quarters within a particular sign. Whereas these Dvipada Nakshatras are 3 in number. They are Mrugashira, Uttara and Dhanishta. Whereas Tripada Nakshatra are 6 in numbers. One is Kritika, another is Punarvasa. One is Uttara, another is Vishaka. One is Uttarashada and another is Purvabhadra. So 6 plus 3 plus the 19, 18 will become the equal to the 27 stars which occupy 12 different signs. So here are 8 Purna Nakshatras, 3 Dvipada Nakshatras. Dvipada Nakshatras are shown in the blue color. Tripada Nakshatra, which the signs they are occupying, is indicated by their names in red color. Now, it is necessary for us to prepare a table. The table will have 10 rows and there will be 5 columns like this. So what you have to do is, please prepare a table like this and keep it ready, so that next class we will tell about how to make use of this table for different purposes and extract information from the different horoscopes, and how we can place the data and use the table. So till then, goodbye. Have a good day.